Keir Starmer's leadership is under severe threat as unrest grows within Labour. Key figures, including Deputy Leader Angela Rayner and over 125 MPs, are rebelling against the welfare reform bill, risking a major defeat.
The game is up. Slippery Starmer will not lead the Labour Party into the next election. His MPs are turning. Angela Rayner is circling. And even the compliant and corrupted MSM are now threatening to reveal two-tier Keir's big secret.
Traditionally loyal media are distancing themselves amid damaging personal scandals affecting his public image. Despite a 174-seat majority, Starmer's support among working-class voters is eroding, with accusations of elitism and disconnection.
But let me tell you, even a 174-seat majority will not save this failed Prime Minister. This failed Prime Minister, hated by the working classes. This failed Prime Minister, hated by every British patriot. And this failed Prime Minister, even hated by his own movement.
Political heavyweights warn this rebellion could trigger an early general election, marking what many see as the beginning of the end for Starmer's leadership and party unity.
Davos monster, this globalist traitor, he has failed on every count, and he will fall. Trust me, he will fall.
The Liberal Democrats will have all 72 MPs vote against Labour's welfare reform bill, raising the stakes sharply. Senior ministers are pressuring Labour MPs to abandon the rebellion, warning that defiance could trigger a leadership contest and potentially end Keir Starmer's tenure.
This is a government that, despite that landslide majority, only got 35% of the vote. That is the lowest share of the vote ever won by any government with a majority. So it's not as though this was a government that was elected with enthusiasm.
Some MPs remain defiant, willing to risk political fallout for change. Despite Labour's recent 2024 election victory, ministers hope to sway enough rebels, arguing that internal turmoil would benefit Nigel Farage's Reform UK.
Back in July of last year, a major reason for its majority is actually the movement of voters from Conservative to Reform, which then helped Labour to pick up many a Conservative-held seat. And this is why, this is something's been said for quite some considerable time, is why sometimes last year's result is referred to as a loveless marriage.
Yet passing the bill with Tory support risks alienating Labour's progressive base, making ministers hesitant to push it as a bipartisan effort.
Last night, the Financial Times reported that Labour MPs have been warned that a major rebellion on the welfare reform bill could trigger a general election, marking the start of the end for Keir Starmer. That prompted Lord Moylan to post on X the question which has now seriously been entertained across Westminster: the end of Sir Keir.
ITV News highlighted Labour's growing turmoil, with nearly a third of MPs opposing the welfare reform bill, turning a policy dispute into a political crisis. London Mayor Sadiq Khan's influence over new MPs adds pressure, as over 50 have signed the rebellion amendment.
This was a government that started off with a relatively shallow basis of support. And it's just that we've discovered that it's fallen away pretty rapidly. On average now, Labour at the moment in the polls are at 24%. That's 11 points down on that 35. So they've lost nearly a third of their support.
At PMQ's Deputy Leader Angela Rayner's strong performance fueled leadership rumours amid criticism from Tory Shadow Chancellor Mel Stride. Rayner defended the reforms, promising support for the disabled and job seekers.
That's right. You see that news there with clerks cutting jobs on the back of disappointing sales. I think one of the reasons why they're cutting jobs, we've had that national insurance rise that's kicked in back in April, just a couple of months ago, and I just feel that things are starting to bite for companies. They saw it coming, they're preparing.
Meanwhile, journalist Alex Phillips revealed that unverified but potentially damaging personal details about Keir Starmer's family life may soon be published, threatening a major political scandal.
And it is great to see the Right Honourable Lady standing in temporarily for the Prime Minister for the second week running. Although I know there are many sitting behind her who wish this was a permanent arrangement. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, you will find many of their names amongst the 122 who've signed up to oppose the government's welfare bill.
Veteran reporter Paul Staines confirmed multiple newsrooms hold explosive information on Keir Starmer, including a birth certificate. Journalists have contacted insiders, but legal and ethical barriers keep the story unpublished. Yet it's imminent. This scandal is a messy marital drama threatening Starmer's marriage like a tabloid soap opera.
She's digging to Keir's grave, because at the moment that's an unthinkable prospect given the scale of the rebellion against him. Now it has emerged, via the independent journalist and outspoken regular Alex Phillips, via her Substack That's What She Said, that Starmer's big secret is coming back to haunt him.
Meanwhile, Alex Phillips claims the establishment is ready to use lawfare to block Nigel Farage from number 10, warning that public backlash could be fierce if they overreach. The British public's scandal fatigue means affairs and family secrets barely shock anymore. Rumors swirl that some journalists hold a nuclear story on Starmer but hesitate to publish, fearing backlash. Yet once the dam breaks, the fallout will be massive.
It's not occurred with some particular event or suddenly. It started in the early autumn of last year. It persisted gradually, or certainly all the way through to last month. It now seems to have flattened out. This has just been a government that's gradually seen its support erode. Yeah. And it's led by a Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, who has never been popular with the public.
Starmer's political standing is crumbling. He's humiliated Britain globally, lost party support, and likely won't lead Labour into the next election. What comes next? A chaotic plunge into political insanity on socialist survival mode.
I think that's the real harsh reality, and things are just going to get tougher.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, the problem for Keir Starmer is there isn't really any good news out there on the horizon. I mean, tonight's welfare bill, you know, he was hoping to come back from NATO last week and somehow talk everybody off the ledge and somehow give enough concessions to the Labour rebels that this would all go through. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen, does it?
Joining this political circus, we have Eddie Alexander, the citizen journalist fueled by caffeine, and Father Calvin Robinson, probably praying for the country's soul. And honestly, we need those prayers. It's been less than a year since Sir Slippery Starmer slid into Downing Street like a greased weasel on a banana peel, and the ride's been downhill ever since.
So the mainstream media code at the moment might be protecting Starmer, but not for long. Because time is nearly up for you. You have shamed Britain on the world stage. Your own side hate you. You will be gone.
He's losing his base and the mainstream media's trust. They're sitting on dirt that could finally bring him down. The UK's turned into a non-stop tragedy festival, from elderly folks left shivering without winter fuel allowance, to the Southport massacres swept under the rug, with every crisis blamed on the far right. Meanwhile, Labour's devouring itself internally like a Game of Thrones sequel with worse suits. Under Starmer, life for average Brits went from barely surviving to please unplug me. Now, he's fighting for his political life, with knives sharpened and passed around within Labour's circus.
No, it's going to be a very, very difficult day for Sir Keir Starmer. I imagine he's got cabinet first thing this morning, and after that he will be hitting the phones. He'll be inviting MPs into his Commons office or getting them over to Downing Street to try and cajole them and arm twist them into actually backing this bill.
And the replacements? Even worse. Angela Rayner might be the walking warning label, making a Labour victory look like a nightmare. We're rooting for chaos because anything else feels tragic. British politics is a wasteland. The Tories got 0 seats but stayed clueless. Reform UK, once anti-establishment, now acts like establishment light, pushing pro-immigration policies that their voters hate. Mohammed's latest plan? Tax rich immigrants more because billionaires just love a high-tax, crime-ridden UK.
Reform get worse and worse and more establishment as weeks go by. We had Mohammed was out again this last week making pronouncements for pro-immigration.
He's pulling all the strings. He's pulling all the strings.
Though his main message was pro-immigration. What is going on? The one thing people want from reform is to cut immigration.
No real opposition, just repeated failures. Labour stumbles badly under Starmer, obsessed with power and risking a full-blown election crisis rather than letting Angela Rayner lead. The implosion is painful to watch, and Starmer won't leave quietly. He'll be dragged out kicking and screaming. All this chaos happened within Karma's first year. Scandals, Brexit betrayals, lost fishing rights, and unchecked human trafficking.
And this has all happened within the first year of a Keir Starmer government as well. We've had numerous scandals, the winter fuel allowance, the Brexit betrayal with even more of our fishing rights being signed over away to France, smashing the criminal human trafficking gangs that are importing hundreds of people a day.
Starmer's broken promises stack up like a never-ending CVS receipt. His manifesto might as well be titled, "Promises I'll Forget After Winning." While other PMs hit the ground running, Starmer just hit the ground and keeps spinning in circles. Worse yet, Angela Rayner could be next. The fiery "fucks the Tories" woman, a full-body shiver for anyone paying attention. Starmer's the ultimate shapeshifter, sometimes moderate, sometimes radical, but never trustworthy. Rumor has it he's not really in charge, just a puppet reading scripts from globalist shadow players, the unelected power behind the curtain. Slippery Starmer indeed.
Throughout his position as opposition leader, he was always in net negative favourability territory. He was always less widely regarded than his party, and that is still the position now. And that again was a fundamental political weakness that he had so far as the election is concerned, that inevitably has continued to be a problem for him.
And here's the twist. Some insiders think Angela Rayner would be more popular. Yes, that Angela Rayner. Because at least with her, what you see is what you get. With Starmer, you don't even know who's really in charge. It's like trying to argue with an AI chatbot trained by the WEF.
Tu n'es pas un robot, vraiment.
Oh. Now here's where things get extra juicy. Alex Phillips, someone who knows Westminster better than most, just dropped a bombshell. A former UKIP press chief turned journalist, she claims that mainstream media types are finally sniffing around a story so radioactive, so career-ending, it could finish Starmer overnight.
And she says, oh, these MSM journalists all of a sudden now are considering that maybe we might be able to run this story to finish Starmer off. When previously we'd seen Paul Staines say, look, the birth certificate was had by the Daily Telegraph and the Daily Mail.
According to sources, this so-called big secret, a scandal involving a birth certificate and a possible love child, has been floating around for quite some time. Paul Staines, aka Guido Fawkes, even claimed that the Daily Telegraph and Daily Mail had the evidence. But guess what? They backed off. Not because the story lacked juice, but because they feared the legal fallout. They didn't think they could prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Not yet. So here's the real question. Why hasn't anyone just grown a backbone and run the story? What's the worst that could happen? If it's false, Starmer sues. If it's true, good luck hiding behind QCs and privacy laws, Keir.
I think that's part of the Labour problem in government, isn't it? Because while you say it might have plateaued a little bit now and it's kind of flattened out, his unpopularity, if you like, his disapproval rating continues to plummet. I mean, I was looking at it on Sunday on Laura Kunsberg's show. According to Ipsos Mori, he's at minus 54 now, and they pointed out that after the first year of government, Tony Blair was plus 34.
It's infuriating. Vital information that could expose the leader of the country sits idle while the media plays it safe. This isn't a school PTA meeting. This is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Eddie Alexander hit the nail on the head. Does it even matter if Starmer's family isn't what he wants us to believe?
The knives are out for Starmer, and there has been many questions about his personal life, about his maybe there's another love child. There's been numerous questions, and it's certainly not looking good for Starmer.
Already, 123 Labour MPs have turned against him, backing amendments to halt reforms. The knives are out, and while the media tiptoes around the scandal, the rumors are flying about another secret child, another cover-up, and nothing gets clearer.
He is going to do everything in his power to suppress this story from coming out.
Oh, of course. He has tried everything. He will try everything. And of course, we know he's a former human rights lawyer, so he knows how to shut things down.
Starmer's privacy excuse is laughable. He flaunted his family in that cringy adolescence Netflix doc, yet hides behind silence when things get messy. His wife allegedly accepted designer clothes from donor Lord Ali while he took cash for glasses. What's next? Labour merch on prescription lenses? The media protects him, but if this were Boris or Farage, it'd be a daily scandal. Now rumors of a love child and a birth certificate swirl, with Lady Victoria looking shattered and forced to play along. This isn't just hypocrisy, it's control. The public deserves honesty. And Starmer, he's running out of places to hide.